Mark?
Battle Los Angeles is a almost documentary war film fighting aliens in Los Angeles.
Battle Los Angeles is a war film with aliens as opposed to an alien movie with Marines.
Form on me.
To me, that's what is exciting about it, is it's a realistic war movie that has aliens.
So whatever those things are, let's go show them how Marines fight. Retreat! 2-5!
It wasn't some big global look at an alien invasion. It was really a look at an alien invasion from one Marine battalion's point of view, and I love the kind of specificity of that.
This is Lieutenant William Martinez, Echo Company, 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines. Hoorah!
Hey. Nice stuff.
It's constant chaos, and I like that.
Green smoke, roger that.
And I love getting my teeth sunk into some action.
It's a kid's dream to be in a war movie, and we're fighting aliens, which is fun as well.
From the moment we land, that's it. I mean, till the end of the movie, we're fighting. And that's what I want to see as a young guy. It's intense.
If the audience doesn't believe that we're about to die in every moment of this movie, then we haven't done our job.
At 1446 Pacific Standard Time, 12 different locations across the globe were breached in what appears to have been a coordinated attack by an unknown enemy. We are the last offensive force on the West Coast. We cannot lose Los Angeles.
I think one of the biggest challenges of this movie was actually, can you marry a war movie and with an alien movie?
Aliens?
Still breaching out of the
That's not possible, right?
enemy infantry number in the
We'll know soon enough, brother.
Enemy fire! 11 o'clock! 25 meters!
I love to see real kind of documentary filmmaking in a narrative.
Left flank on the roof! Covering!
I think that what I like most about the movie is how it's being filmed.
His twist on it is really cool because I've never seen a documentary-style alien movie before. And that's how this is shot.
And I thought, wow, that's really interesting to shoot like such a huge movie with a little bit of like cinema verite kind of an angle like that. Because usually they have the big swooping like helicopter, you know what I mean? Like, and everything's glossy and glamorous.
It's very contrasty, it's very fast, it's very dirty. It's more about the sort of left of center sort of, documentary style, sort of making it as real as it can be.
I'll suppress the fire in front! You should take the civilians out the back!
It has the action and the pop of a big film, but it does have the grittiness and realistic quality of a doc.
One of the things that we're trying to do in the movie is giving a real handheld feel.
We got room for 4 and that is it!
We're capturing the film from every angle. We've had helicopters, we've had shots underwater, shots above water, behind fire.
Our cameramen are fantastic. They have to be in top physical condition to be able to do half the things they're doing. They're just capturing so many raw moments.
That's an order.
They're on top of garbage trucks, they're under cars, they're shooting through broken windows, they're literally shooting inches away from explosions.
The camera's all over the place. I mean, you have real reactions, unscripted stuff. I mean, you feel, the audience will feel like they're in the middle of a battle.
Move that concrete slab, 1 o'clock. Let's move. Fire in the hole! That should give us a couple minutes.
Working on this project really has lived up to all the expectations I had.
I want people to come out of this movie with the same feeling I've come out of movies that I've loved, where you just felt like you were taken on an amazing ride. You know, there were characters you loved, you were sad when some died, you were excited when they won.
I loved monster movies when I was a kid growing up, and I loved the suspense of that. We've got great action sequences, but we've also got great suspense sequences. And I want people to really be drawn into the fright of being on a street and not knowing what's around you and knowing that there is no help.
It was action, it was drama, it was suspense, it was a touch of comedy here and there. It had all the elements of a great film.
You have the thrill of the aliens and everything that they offer, and you have the thrill of a squad of Marines having to survive.
Whoa. You gotta take me to dinner first. You really get to know these guys. You get to know the guys in the 2-5 to where, you know, when things happen, you feel it.
God damn it! Already lost 4 of my goddamn men!
It's a killer ride.
You know what they say if you're gonna hit a deer? Speed up!
It was an experience. Yeah.
And then who's gonna, you know, walk away into the sunset?
It is a knockdown, drag 'em, kick-ass action movie.
Catch!
Mark.
Cut.
Battle Los Angeles combined both of my favorite genres, war movies and alien movies. And I remember reading the script and thinking that it was the perfect fit for me.
Jonathan truly won this job.
Jonathan is one of these kind of true Hollywood stories where we were meeting with a number of directors on this movie, and a lot of directors wanted to do this movie.
I'm probably the most long-shot underdog person ever to get the job. And I thought, well, if I wanted to get this, I'd have to blow people away with the presentation.
And he showed us this little presentation that he had done, and I was like, wow, this is what every director should do to get a job. That's kind of become this Hollywood lore. How did Jonathan Liebesman get Battle LA?
He came in with 5 black bags, and each bag had something extraordinary in it.
They were all still photographs, and they were illustrations of, you know, what he saw this picture looking like. And I have to say that it was very inspiring.
Storyboards, aliens, sets, images from Vietnam of soldiers and how they aged over the course of battle. He charted the action, quiet moments, loud moments, in order that he wanted to introduce, and a previs that was probably 10 or 12 minutes of his interpretation of what he thought the film should look like.
Because Jonathan, from a younger generation, he's found a lot of stuff on YouTube and video games that he wanted to roll into this movie.
Younger directors are very savvy at knowing how to do their own CGI. There were a bunch of software packages that I knew had created some great short films I'd seen online. And I learned the programs and bought a video camera and started shooting shots that I could put CGI into to show the studio, you know, what the movie would look like.
Jonathan is a very good visual effects artist in his own right. So it sort of pioneered the way in that look.
I showed it to the studio. They were as bowled over as I was, that anybody could go forth and put this much effort on a movie without even having the job. Spent a lot of his time and effort and money preparing this reel.
When he showed it to all of us, we got excited, and ultimately, he got the job in the room. It was really exciting.
The day after, I woke up and I couldn't believe, you know, that I had the job. It was unreal.
Action. You gotta get him out of here.
Lieutenant, I am not leaving you.
You gotta get him out of here.
Not again!
I got a pack of C4 on the bus. Get him off this goddamn freeway. It's an order.
It's cool, right?
That's it.
It's good. Cut.
Once Jonathan got the job, I thought it was all great on the paper, but was it actually going to work?
And a lot of video games have these amazing trailers these days. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could have a sizzle reel that was like one of those trailers?
I said to Jonathan that I think it'd be great to show the studio the style in which the movie would be shot.
So Jonathan said to Sony, listen, let me go have a day and I'll go shoot, you know, what I think this film is about. And he called me up, he said, would you mind coming down and doing this? I said, not at all. Having no idea what this was gonna be like.
We had, 3 or 4 cameras going, a green screen unit. We shot a whole bunch of stuff with Aaron and some real Marines.
We shot a bunch of Marines running around with machine guns and just kind of random, very like documentary news footage of them doing various things.
We had a Marine helicopter, we had Humvees, we had a whole studio that was just covered in dirt and everything. I mean, it was mind-blowing. We had full uniforms, we had our weapons, things were on fire. I'm not kidding you, man, I freaked out. And Jonathan got some amazing stuff.
That presentation took my breath away. It was like you were plopped right down in the middle of a war. So I knew he was going to be capturing something we haven't seen yet.
It really gave Jonathan and I the idea of, okay, this is what we're in for. Very handheld, very dynamic, very action-packed. It's going to be non-stop.
When we showed it to the studio, everybody was blown away, and that's what really got the ball moving.
It was the thing that finally got the studio completely hooked. And once they saw that, they were like, we're in, let's go make the picture.
And Jonathan put together this little film to show that not only can he tell a story and has all the technical elements and all that sort of stuff, but I mean, it was just to show his ingenuity and his drive. And, he hasn't stopped that concept. He's been relentless on this movie.
He is relentless in searching for something that works. If the written dialogue doesn't work, he'll talk to the military advisors on board and be like, all right, this isn't working. Naturally, what would you do?
Now that I see it, I'm like, what could these guys?
I know, that's what I'm saying too.
So tell me, what would these guys be doing?
They have to be back in, nobody else can shoot.
I guess I could come back here and be behind them. Okay, fine.
And I like that, because, it just gives room to play and find what's more organic.
Jonathan has taken that concept and just magnified it by 1,000 times, and we've got it in this movie.
The war genre has evolved very far. It's a very visceral, awesome genre. This was a great opportunity to take that kind of movie and put aliens in there and sort of let those two genres kind of synergize, and hopefully the whole is greater than the sum of those parts.
I get many calls from many different people. Can we see that reel? Because we'd love to show it to our directors, to show them what they need to really go get a movie in Hollywood today.
And now it's sort of become the standard. You'll see a lot of studios hiring directors who have come in with amazing visual presentations. It became legendary.
We shoot this damn thing, Staff Sergeant.
Oh, Lord have mercy. We need to know exactly where to hit this thing, so we don't waste all our ammo.
Look, the bar has been raised really high. There have been a lot of terrific filmmakers that have come and made really great and long-lasting and memorable science fiction films with aliens. So we're trying to do something unique, but we're also trying to create a world that feels very real and create aliens that feel very threatening and believable.
We went through a very comprehensive alien development stage where during pre-production, we looked at many, many different designs of how the aliens should look.
We went through a lot of different concepts to sort of get the alien to a place where the director was comfortable sharing with, the studio. Because it was such a different type of thing he was going for, I mean, we're really trying to outdo the original Alien. We wanted it to be very different, like nothing anyone's ever seen before. So that was the biggest challenge, was to really try to fine-tune that design, and we're still fine-tuning it now.
So are you okay now, Carrie, with this one?
Joel Harlow, the makeup effects person, is unreal. The alien he built out of our designs matches the maquette exactly.
When I saw what Jonathan had designed, it was something that I hadn't seen before. It was really interesting.
What the hell is that thing?
We looked at a lot of things out of nature, and that was the key. Jonathan didn't want to replicate or duplicate any other alien that was in another film. So this is totally original.
It's unlike anything I've ever seen.
Originally, I thought about these creatures as being a little bit more animalistic in a sense. I thought it would be really cool if they swarmed like schoolfish or like birds do, and that they somehow, understood where they all were, spatially in relationship to each other.
A lot of alien movies have creature-esque or insect-like aliens, which are great, but I just thought, to make this feel a little bit different, we'd have to find something that you haven't seen recently.
design changed from that original concept because I really tried not to overwrite it, because I know there's going to be really talented designers that are going to come into play and they're going to bring their creativity to bear.
Because there's not a lot to draw on, you know, nobody really has an alien that is, check it out, you know, this is what it should look like. It's more experimentation, you know, it's like we'll try this and see if this looks good, see if Jonathan likes this. If he doesn't, you know, we'll change it a little bit, you know, take his notes and modify accordingly.
I just wanted to see how these aliens would move and walk.
I don't know that I ever had a picture in mind as much as I had a way to describe, you know, how they were fighting and how they were moving and, you know, creepy aspects of them. And I kind of threw it all in a pot and I said, well, somebody else will figure it out.
That's gooey stuff.
Working with Jonathan is fantastic. His design for the alien is something that has really been a pleasure to create.
Everyone's work is inspiring everyone else, which is great. When people see the alien design, they get excited.
From that point, we broke it down and started building the skins and casting parts. What would be metal? What would be, you know, silicone? What would be skin? What would be bone? And going through different phases of the process as far as painting and materials go. The cool thing about it is, even now while we're building it, he'll throw different things into it. He'll come up with different ideas. So there's always a creative energy that we can incorporate into this thing.
It's just great to be involved with something that people believe in and get excited that they're working on.
It feels like we're not settled on a final design yet, which is very stimulating as far as the creative potential goes, because you can come up with ideas, bounce them off him. You know, he'll send me images and say, you know, try to incorporate this somewhere, and it's challenging, but, you know, it's also very gratifying.
It's just interesting to watch Jonathan, because you can almost hear the wheels turning in his head as he's going. It's just watching, it's like watching a mad scientists put together Frankenstein. It's like, what is going on?
And when he finally came into the shop, I think is when he was like, oh yes, there it is. You know, that's my creation. That's my monster.
These aliens reminded me of when I think of an alien like Roswell or something like that. It just made me feel that, got me very excited.
We got a dozen up on the bridge. They're moving down.
Jonathan had some very cool and radical and unique takes on what they look like, how they move, how they travel, how they attack.
They're fighting a real enemy. We don't want it to be an exaggerated enemy. We want it to be as real as possible.
It looks like it's been surgically attached.
Talk about commitment to cause.
So we started talking very early on about what kind of army are they? You know, how would they kind of rank and file?
That one out front looks like a leader, so now they got leadership.
How would they, you know, deploy themselves in an effort to have this battle?
What the hell's that? We got a breach.
Why they came here, what they were looking for, how they were able to defend themselves, what made them a better opponent.
When you invade a place for its resources, you wipe out the indigenous population. Those are the rules of any colonization.
One of the, I think, most interesting things is that we're fighting an enemy that is operating not unlike we are.
You think those things get scared too? They're probably just like us.
It's not just random acts of violence and aliens running around attacking.
Ambush!
They have formations, they have battle strategies.
We were tracking enemy transmissions about 12 clicks south of here. They ambushed us, like they knew our freaking address.
I come from creature effects, makeup effects. So when we first started this process with CG, I've always told the director there needs to be a practical, real element on set.
We did a lot of previs of our action sequences, and then we took those previs and we broke them down into storyboards, and we would break those down into visual effects shots and live action shots. And again, we always told ourselves, you know, stay real, stay true, as much in camera as possible. Use the visual effects as an accent or to tell the story.
Hence our Alien and Joel Harlow's team making the full-scale Alien for various, like, when it's dead or when it gets cut open or when it has to interact with the actors closely, it tends to be the makeup effects puppet.
And just his passion for makeup, you know, and his team and how they did the alien autopsy, just the details within that alien body are great. It's so cool when the cast walks on and sees that alien all split up. It gets them into the movie. They get excited.
We gotta figure out how to kill these things. Otherwise, we won't last another 5 minutes out there, okay?
Well, we just killed an alien. The bulk of it anyway, the torso. We'll be killing the head at a later date. It all went very well. Layer after layer after layer, organ after organ, and a glowing heart, so you can't beat that. Smoke, slime, everything the kids love.
I love shooting the autopsy with the alien because you're in there and you get to see its guts and the elaborate work that the art department did on this massive creature that's 7 feet tall. It's intriguing to look at.
Now that full version is about 8 feet tall, and it's got a tentacle coming out of its leg that's like 20 feet long. So when they drag this thing in, it's a pretty impressive hunk of dead alien. They bring that in, they throw it down in the interior of the police station, then they cut it open, do an autopsy on it, and that's a separate element.
It's organically evolving into like so many, you know, different things, and now I kind of understand slightly the anatomy of the damn thing, and I think that's cool. They're making conscious decisions on how it works, and slowly I'm starting to learn more and more about it.
This is our last shot.
Got it.
Every time that the cast interacts physically with one of these aliens, it's something that we have made. You know, it's a physical prop. It's there in the room.
That's how we kill this thing, to the right of where the heart would be.
The gory looks of the creature itself, the work that they did on it, it's pretty good. I like it. I mean, I'm disgusted every time I look at it. So I think they're doing their job.
If you separate the alien element from this movie, what I'm trying to achieve is a real war film.
Holy shit!
If you can ground the real elements of this as much as possible, then it gives credibility to the supernatural, you know, the sci-fi elements. So if I can make all the makeups look as real as possible, and even the creature effects look as real as possible, then hopefully the audience goes, okay, that's what it would be like if Marines met aliens in a one-to-one combat situation.
Actors and blue screen is difficult because what I've found in my limited experience before this movie was you usually need to push an actor far to get a reaction that's believable, because ultimately you're always disappointed when you see the creature or the alien or whatever it is in CGI and then you cut to the reaction and you're like, oh, it wasn't enough.
I think that's one of the hardest things to do, is react to something that's not there.
It really makes you pull out your acting chops, because the truth of the matter is, you know, you're running from something that's not there. You're not really in any danger. You're not about to die, but you have to make the people watching believe that you really thought that you were about to die.
You have to imagine it is on set with you, and you have to personalize it in whatever way you can. I mean, if it's a physical force, if it's another country's army, if it's us in Iraq or Afghanistan or whatever it is.
Jonathan has been really clear about the actions and what's happening.
Aliens are firing.
I've seen some concepts for the enemy that we're facing, and it's a freaky looking thing. So yes, it does help imagining. Well, it helps not knowing completely what they look like, because we don't know what they look like, but also knowing that it's a scary thing, it helps you portray that on screen, because it's some scary looking stuff.
We're facing an unknown enemy. We don't know how strong their force is or what they're capable of.
It'd be nice if those unknown forces kind of appeared so you can talk to them and have these scenes with them. There's all these things flying over our heads and all these different, you know, meteors that are flying all around. But no, there's nothing there. So you kind of have to have an imagination. You got to be creative and kind of see it even though it's not there.
We've learned a few tactics to get over that barrier of having to use just your imagination. Because when you do that and you don't have direction, you end up looking in opposite directions for that thing that you're supposed to be completely horrified of.
Santa!
You're a little bit of a disadvantage, and I think the only way that you can combat that is to always ask Jonathan, what's going on? What's going on? Where are they? What are they doing? What's the sound like?
We've incorporated a few things to sort of help. One, Jonathan is constantly walking everybody through what they should be seeing, what they're hearing. We'll make noises to get reactions. Sometimes they'll know they're coming, sometimes they won't, whether it's gunfire or banging on things.
The use of martyrs and explosions and, you know, noises and specific direction from Jonathan has helped us out a lot with that.
What I try and do as much as possible is give the actors sounds or things, props that'll be there in CGI as much as possible.
DJ, you see that popper over there? He's gonna be shooting at it, it explodes.
We have reference aliens that are in stop motion outfits that have reference points.
We'll have alien cutouts so they see what they're reacting to. Try and give them as much as possible to react to.
When we do have a scene or a sequence involving the aliens, they have at least put up poster mock-ups.
And then we have a puppet version that walks around and stands like 7.5 feet tall.
Actors are so inventive and creative, and they'll think of things to do with things you put in front of them. So you try and provide as much as possible to an actor while you're shooting on a blue screen.
The unfortunate thing about working this way is that you don't know the eventual capabilities of your foe. I don't know what Jonathan's gonna do with the aliens. I don't know what the special effects guys are gonna come up with.
Lieutenant, 10 o'clock!
Guys, see it, 8 o'clock!
And we also have special effects supervisors on set who are terrific, constantly monitoring to make sure that not only Jonathan is getting the staging and the performances that he needs, but that they also have the opportunity to make sure that the aliens they're ultimately going to drop in look as great as possible.
I took all the storyboards and all the previs, and I sat down with the director, and we came up with a game plan for each scene. So I'm here to remind the director about what we talked about early on.
3, 2, 1, go.
Making sure that there's enough light or not too much smoke.
And we try to not have too much smoke. That's my role in the movie, is to make sure the smoke is under control.
He wants to put smoke in all the shots. It's a very smoky, almost like Baghdad war environment.
Can't see shit.
Because smoke causes problems with visual effects, I'll remind Jonathan that, look, you know, don't put smoke in front of the lens here, put it in the background, because we have to put aliens in here. And I can always add smoke in the foreground, but I can't always, you know, put an alien through smoke that already is there in the shot.
Right now, not enough smoke. That's what I can tell you from my vast experience in movies. Look at that, no smoke.
So I'm there to sort of like politely remind him, I know it looks a little weird now, but listen to me, and it'll look great when we get to post, trust me.
They're just constantly monitoring the elements that we're choosing to inject into every scene to make sure that ultimately when they fill it with aliens, UFOs, explosions, you know, they'll look as great as possible.
The style of this film is very documentary, and the handheld zooms are very complicated in the CG world. 5 years ago, we could not have done this film.
The first thing we built was a lighting reference for Everett and his visual effects team, which they bring out the silver and, you know, gray balls and get all their references. They bring this thing out, which is 7 feet tall, photograph it in the lighting scenario so that they're, you know, the visual effects houses can reference that.
The visual effects houses, they need to know where the aliens are coming from as well. So it helps for the eye line of the actor.
That's your eye line.
But it also helps for the visual effects house to understand where these aliens are coming from, how close or how far away they are.
And it's slowly falling down.
The biggest challenge is how to mimic the camera move in 3D so the aliens can look like they're actually there.
And now go back to the three-quarter angle, and we'll have all the plates covered for dead people on the street.
The advancements in technology for camera tracking have become so good lately that we're able to track a lot of these shots and really integrate our aliens into the footage that's shot. But it's very complicated, especially the very erratic, sort of a cinema verite style that Jonathan has chosen for this film.
I just can't wait to see till it's all put together, you know, till that green screen is replaced with actual imagery of amazing ships that come together.
Jonathan's had such an excellent relationship with the visual effects team that he's working with. And we have such great companies working with us that he has a lot of faith in what they're going to be able to do.
I grew up on science fiction and horror all my life, and this is a dream come true. I get to blow up Los Angeles with lots of cool aliens.
They're shooting guns, they're jumping, they're running, they're falling. They're really at war.
So hit the ground fast. Fight like hell.
The physical aspect is invaluable because when your body is moving and your heart is pumping, then you forget about everything else and you forget about if you have lines or this or that or the other. It allows you to just be.
Let's go!
This film is a very physical film. We've been running and jumping and diving on the floor and rolling on the ground and shooting our weapons and getting up and fighting. You know, it's been physical, yeah, definitely.
Who fell? Aside from, you know, wearing an extra 60 pounds on your body, there's running around, there's stuff blowing up in front of you and behind you, and there's fires, and it's insane.
With this gear on, the midsummer, Louisiana, we started out on a freeway, blowing everything up, and
After a while, you know, a whole day of shooting and running and climbing. I did a lot of climbing onto certain objects and shooting. It becomes hardcore after a while. You're just trying to regain your breath.
Find our way out of here! Cut.
And the actors rarely like to hear that stunt doubles are coming in to do things they want to do them themselves.
I've seen you like that. The actors are doing a tremendous amount of their own stunt work.
The idea was to try and not include our stuntmen too many times. The idea was to always build the movie around our actors. Our whole philosophy was, let's make it safe for our actors, let them do it.
Gonna go 80 to 100 feet. All I ask is watch for fallout.
We've all been kind of near a lot of dangerous situations where explosions are going off really close to make it look very real. We've been firing these weapons a lot all over the place.
Lieutenant!
You know, I haven't had to do anything too crazy.
I was doing a stunt yesterday that was on top of a highway and lowering people down below the highway.
Hold on.
It was a lot of hanging over a highway, screaming, trying to help children get to safety, that sort of thing.
No.
I feel bad for my stunt girl because she really doesn't get to do much. I enjoy doing the stunts. It's nothing like out of control that I ever felt like I couldn't handle it or it was too dangerous though.
I'm an R&B singer, so it's not a lot of stunt work in my normal life.
Kids first, around the body, bring them down one at a time, you got me?
Neo did this big wire sequence where he's rappelling off of the freeway, and one of the other stunt actors gets shot, and he falls down, he hits Neo.
They had me on this harness, and I basically had to take about a 30-foot fall onto the hood of a car.
And it's really amazing.
It was honestly pretty fun. I mean, the first one, I freaked out. I had to change my pants. But after that, it was cool. It was cool. I actually had fun with it.
Very impressive. That guy was actually really tough.
It's something I've never, ever done and probably will never do again. You know, it's something I could tell my grandkids when I get really, really old, that I did my own stunt in a movie at one point in life. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
On the freeway scene, we had 3 actors jumping off of the top of a garbage truck. On our rappel set, we had one actor have to fake falling onto the hood of a car and rolling off. We've had several actors rappelling up and down a wall. They've been crawling, they've been diving.
But it's the actors doing the action, and I think that's what really reigns true. And you see the drama, you see the jeopardy that they're in through all the physical stuff that they have to do.
You're gonna know it's them 99% of the time. You really are. You're gonna see their faces, and you're gonna realize that they designed a movie around the actors, not around the stunts.
I think being involved with the stunts helps your performance because you're in the action of it. And I think as many elements as you can bring to the scene helps the characters.
It actually helps you act because it actually helps you feel like you're in some serious danger.
Whenever you're holding your weapon or running away, screaming or looking up or being in a bus and having to hit the deck and all that, whenever you're physicalizing something, it just becomes so much easier to be and not to be in your head, which is a bad place to be if you're an actor.
Once we found out that they were shooting documentary style, I knew that there was going to be long takes, and I knew that these actors were going to have to live the whole thing, dive and be around explosions and firing weapons and just doing all their own, physical action.
A lot of action, a lot of gunfire. Good thing we did our boot camp training.
Boot camp was something I really, myself and the producers really fought hard for.
Just so they could get the rudiments of being a soldier.
That gave a real sense of reality of how guys would interact as Marines.
It's run exactly like a boot camp.
We had all these veterans of the Marines kind of there guiding us, helping us, showing us and teaching us how to become Marines.
See them talking about we're gonna form it up.
And we lived out in the field for 5 days. That means no cell phones, they didn't go home at night.
No way to clean our clothes, no real contact with the outside world.
We had them pitch their own tents.
Mosquito tent and all of that, that's what it was.
I'm not sleeping here because I got the wonderful excuse that I'm Air Force.
We spend all day and all night together. It's invaluable. It really grounds you in your character.
The boot camp was mainly to make sure that we walked, talked, acted, looked like Marines.
It's proven to be very, very productive and very, very successful.
And we saw a bunch of actors come in and figure out what it was and how it felt to be a Marine.
Breathe! Let a hand! Your training will kick in!
In fact, I know that I don't know anybody's real name in this movie. Everybody calls each other by their characters' names.
I've never gone through such extensive training for or pre-production for a part.
We all got to bond with the cast, and I got to bond with Michelle a lot. We became really cool.
These kids came out of there, and they're the best friends. They really respect each other, and I think that week alone is the main reason why this movie will be so effective, is because these guys really believe in each other and trust each other.
I mean, coming to set, I think 3 weeks after they went to boot camp, and you can see how much they gelled. I could definitely see how, the boot camp really made those guys connect.
What we experienced in 3 weeks was nothing compared to what they do. They'll do, I think, 6 months or something like that. And the first 3 days, we were like, okay, we get it. Let's start shooting now. Take us back to the hotel. It's raining out here. Nice. But yeah, it definitely helped us understand who the Marines are and what our roles were. It definitely helped.
That's what boot camp will do for you. And having a bunch of foam in the bag. That helps too. Well, let's go with boot camp. Camera's face? 11.
A typical day, every day here in boot camp, out here in Camp Mendon, Revelie's at 5:30.
It's 05:45. We're about to go wake the actors up for boot camp.
All right, let's go, Jets. Reveille. Get up, get started.
Yeah, me and morning time don't get along too well.
We got to wake up at, really early and do probably around 5.
I wake up at 4:30 because I'm at the hotel in town.
Get up, grab your gear. Formation 15 minutes. Formation on the road. Get up.
Yeah, I'm really bad in the morning. I'm very grumpy.
Right now, the men have just been woken up from reveille, and in 5 minutes, we're gonna form them up in formation.
Attend! Hut!
And march them over to our PT area.
March!
And then do PT in the morning.
And PT stands for physical training.
1, 2, 3,
When we PT in the morning, I like to start off with, we do jumping jacks, and we do a lot of push-ups, and we do a lot of flutter kicks. That builds up the stomach, the core.
1, 2, 3.
And the push-ups building up the upper strength.
The sergeants will pick on you real hard. I mean, I was just aching, and every time you mess up, you gotta do whatever you messed up on 20 times or something else to make up for it. I did about 100, 110 push-ups, easy.
This vest probably weighs 40 pounds. And this is not the real deal. This doesn't have the metal plates in it that the real ones have. Theirs weigh about 80 pounds.
This whole all this body armor and the helmet. It's fun to do. I wouldn't want to do it for real.
In the military, you know, there's usually girls with girls. It's a totally different scenario. Training is different and protocol is different. So, you know, for once, he mentioned girl push-ups this morning, and I did a couple.
Damn good integrity push-ups going.
Hey, the girl one.
There aren't many women in my line of work who like to rough it up, you know, with the boys.
Because we're going to be on the highway fighting the aliens. We're going to be in a police station where all this place where it's going to be hot. You have to be physical shape to endure the environment. If you're not, you would pass out. Physical training would build their bodies up to resist that.
It's now 6:31 a.m. PT. Everybody's looking good.
And then we go for a run, about a 2-mile run.
Echo 2-5! Echo 2-5!
The most challenging thing about I don't run. I hate running. Running sucks. I'm pretty awesome at maneuvering, and I'm very fast, but I have absolutely no stamina whatsoever.
The Air Force does undergo some training, not as strenuous as the training that I underwent with the Marines. Sergeant Deaver would love to say that, you know, that's why you move better.
That whole running thing, I'm sorry, man. That's just not, I can't do it.
Already lied.
I'd probably be sniper, because I'm calm. And I'm small, so I can hide in really petite places.
Now listen up. Let's get your weapon. Get your gear, get your munitions, move outside.
We have weapons training, learning how to shoot a M16A4 and an M4, and a SAW, squad automatic weapon, a 249.
They showed us the proper way to hold your weapon.
Hey, Stereo, make sure you hold your weapon like everybody else's, like this. You have it straight up and down.
The proper way to shoot it.
The M4 I wasn't familiar with. That's the new military issue weapon.
I never shot an M4 before.
I want to get this magazine changed. It's a lot better.
Now I know how to take one apart in less than a minute.
Lock and load.
I know how to use it. I know what to do if it gets stuck on me.
We were shooting 50 cals off a tank.
Which is sick.
This is the greatest machine gun in the world.
That's good.
All right, beautiful.
Yep.
And whatever it hits, it likes to destroy. Next.
They're going down like bowling pins. That sucker could go right through walls. Even when it's blanks, the kickback on that thing is massive. Woo!
That's it. Game over.
Safety was a major factor.
No, it's got a bigger range, but we can't let you swing it around. It's a little dangerous. Yeah.
We're not shooting real bullets. All these are blanks, and each one of the individuals and the platoon, they get a safety class, because blanks still can kill somebody. So we have to tell them, you treat every weapon that it's loaded, and you don't play around. There's no playing around when you're holding a weapon.
Let him lower that weapon.
I wish they let us shoot some live ammo. It's not the same shooting blanks as real live ammunition. You don't have the E = MC² effect, where you get the kaboom, you know?
It's invaluable to the reality of this movie.
Your weapon is kind of like your baby, you know?
When you're shooting off rounds and you're running in the street and people are screaming, you get the feeling that you're at war.
Ooh, let's move.
We taught them drill.
Platoon, attend, hut.
Listening to commands and executing them.
Right, face, march, left, right.
How to address someone subordinate, address someone who's your superior.
You're in charge, sir. Your orders. You gotta listen to Staff Sergeant. Everybody understand that?
Aaron Eckhart's really into it. He wants to make sure a Marine Staff Sergeant is doing everything correct.
I'm their mother and their father and their brother and their sister, and they have to do what I say. They're looking sloppy, or they're not cleaning up after themselves, or they're in any way not being who they're supposed to be, then I get to take control over their lives.
Come on, Simmons.
And I do, because that's my role, and they wouldn't respect me if I didn't do it.
Where's Kearns?
You know, I bossed them around.
Kearns, fall in. Let's go.
They hated my guts. I think they still do.
A lot of tactical communication.
We teach them tactics, how to cover each other in a firefight. They needed to run, cover each other, get up from the ground, move to another vehicle, fire their weapons.
They showed us how to clear a room.
Infiltrating buildings.
Door left. Because everything they're doing in the rehearsals are being taught here in boot camp.
You get back up, come forward, over the wall. We gotta hit them hard with everything we got.
Camera's face.
11.
They're not Marines. I can't make Marines in a week. But I have to make sure the actors walk, talk, and act like Marines.
This is getting right into Santa Monica. We're very happy to be here. We have a lot of extras, we have a lot of tanks, we have helicopters, and it's a lot of fun today.
First question always asked is, you're shooting a movie called Battle Los Angeles and you're in Louisiana.
The other LA, as we call it.
Initially, I was scouting in New Mexico and Atlanta. We started trying to find, the locations for this piece and where we could recreate Los Angeles.
We've done our best to recreate the streets of Santa Monica and Los Angeles here in Louisiana, and they look pretty incredible.
There is a Shell station across the street from Domino's, I believe, somewhere on Lincoln.
Pico and Lincoln.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it looks Lincoln, got Domino's, we got the veterinarian thing here.
What about the Lincoln Animal Hospital? I don't know if I've ever seen it.
No, I think they got that confused with Wilshire Animal Hospital.
They did a really great job, a lot of fun.
In the words of our production designer, a palm tree and a telephone pole go a long way. So we've been towing palm trees and telephone poles pretty much everywhere.
You can dress it with palm trees, and then all of a sudden, you're in a small street in Venice instead of being in a small street in Shreveport or Baton Rouge.
And having the DOD giving us and supplying us with, lots of helicopters and other things, those are all, again, very important ingredients to sort of make the film credible at the same time as sort of being exciting and visually interesting.
Louisiana has been great for us, both the city of Shreveport and Baton Rouge. Really went out of their way to provide the kind of locations that we needed and taking over, highways and closing down, major city streets, which we're doing today, as a matter of fact,
The amount of flexibility that we've been given by way of, locking off streets and other things, we've been able to sort of, do more than perhaps we could have afforded to do in Los Angeles ultimately.
And, again, with the help of some matte paintings and some compositing, you'll feel very much like Los Angeles.
What I love about what Peter does is also place a lot of emphasis on reality and grounding story.
When you read a script like that, you immediately think of trying to create something that is in a believable world. If, aliens are ever believable, it's important that there's an element of credibility.
This is the scene where we have just been ambushed, and now we're going into the police station to meet up with the civilians.
All right, this is our civilian recovery point. This whole thing's a shithole, Staff Sergeant. You ever seen anything like this?
That's a real police station.
Go ahead.
And I hope that crime in Shreveport does not go up for the next 3 days, because I cannot stop shooting. So I don't know if they can make arrests for 3 days.
U.S. Marines! U.S. Marines!
With this film, I think what's challenging and exciting is that most science fiction films take place on foreign planets, or, you have faceless fighters, or you're in contained spaceships.
We started talking about creating a world. What was the world going to look like? How post-apocalyptic, and in what ways was it going to really kind of be the production design of the movie?
9/11 is kind of a look, if you like, that I wanted to try and sort of take through the movie by way, from a texture point of view. We cake all the sets in this black ash, which is a combination of certain materials, which is all user-friendly, but it's, for the shooting crew, it's been pretty dirty work most of the time.
Because we have a lot of debris that explodes. We have particle matter, which is this cork. We have a lot of smoke. We use diesel smoke. We use mineral oils.
We've got a lot of destructing, and we've got to burn a lot of it. And, we're going to cake it in all this sort of bone ash, which gives it that very sort of apocalyptic kind of feel.
By the time you get done a day's work, I mean, you really are just filthy dirty, you know.
And visually on camera, it's a texture that hopefully will run through the entire movie.
The way he places things as simple as set decorations or the sets he builds, there's just a real emphasis on reality and not necessarily what looks cool.
It's very contrasty, it's very fast, it's very dirty. It's not over-designed. It's very important, I think, not to over-design something. And it's been very important on a movie, or any movie for that matter, is to not lose sight of the scope of it.
Oh my God.
And give it that sort of wow factor as much as you can.
Freeze! On me!
I feel that whilst Los Angeles is Los Angeles, you know, I think all the constraints that we had and sort of trying to make it work here, I think actually worked out very well.
It's really been, a great experience.
Both side streets are blocked. Only choice to take the freeway.
All right, well, it's your call. Well, we're here today shooting this huge freeway sequence, and it's actually a lot of fun seeing this whole thing come together.
Hello again, the set of Battle Los Angeles. Now we're in our second week of Freeway Mayhem as Marines, fully trained to take on the aliens.
I'll suppress the fire in front. You should take the civilians out the back. Secure this exit, Emily.
I'd like to introduce you to our set here.
Stand by the roll, please.
We're about to show you what we do, so enjoy.
It may not look like a freeway from here, but what we have done is we've shut it down. We've gotten permission from the Shreveport people in the state of Louisiana to create what is I-10, Santa Monica Freeway. And this is one of the biggest action scenes in our movie.
Let's go! Come on, let's go! Come on, straight up, straight up!
The set and art department did an amazing job. We had helicopters, we had tanks, we had, blown up cars, and all of those real elements, instead of just using a blue screen or a green screen, help with the actors' performances.
You walk into the freeway, you're pretty much mesmerized. There's helicopters, there's buses turned over, there's semis, there's crushed cars. Because I do a bunch of independent films, you forget, you're like, wow, this is a big movie.
Well, it's massive. And the explosions and the gunfire, and probably the coolest thing about it for me is just, thinking back to a year and a half or two ago when I was just writing the script, and now kind of looking around and seeing so many really talented people kind of coming together and making, what I thought up so long ago not only be real, but look incredibly cool.
Probably one of the more spectacular sets I've ever seen. It's incredible. I mean, they've made this place look like a war zone. As soon as you walk on set, you can't help but fall into character, into what the situation is, just by, the visuals. In today's scene, we're shooting the big walking machine gun, which has been taking out a lot of Marines, and we have to light them up. Staff Sergeant Nance and myself, we set up 3 C4s.
Let's blow this sucker to hell! Hoorah!
And it's a huge explosion.
This is Lieutenant Willie Martinez, Echo Company, 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines. Hoorah!
On the freeway, we had a lot of squibs, a lot of running around. We had a sequence where we had Stavro, Elena and Santos, which is Michelle Rodriguez, and they climbed up to the top of a trash truck to get a higher ground to kill the aliens.
What the hell are you doing?
You guys need another gun.
And at one point, they had to escape from the onslaught of the aliens.
It's about to hit the fan, guys. Get out now!
And Will and Michelle came bounding off of the top of this trash truck. It was a good 10, 15-foot jump down into pads, which was not easy to do. You're carrying a gun, you have all your gear. They did really, really good on that.
It's the most sort of epic scene I've directed, with just a lot of elements per shot. Usually you have 1 or 2 things, whether it's like you have smoke and a stunt.
Oh, Marines, light them up!
In this, there was smoke and explosion, gunfire, people rappelling, and all this is happening in one shot.
Because I really enjoyed what we had to do out there with fighting the aliens from the bus, getting everybody moving out, the way the actors were talking to each other.
If we get the civilians, that helo, they take cover, rappel down.
The way they moved, the way they were firing, and the way they performed.
Move!
Really enjoy working on that part right there.
Lieutenant, dozen hostiles, maybe more! 400 meters and closing fast!
When I look at the freeway scene, I'm very proud because, as an example, it just feels like this is, you know, a real military operation.
Lock it, curves on me, let's go!
In terms of how people are gotten off the freeway. In terms of how the stunts went, there's a hell of a lot of ammunition flying around. A lot of explosions going off.
A lot of action, a lot of gunfire. Good thing we did our boot camp training and everything.
Mikey, get up your ass!
It's been, knock on wood, so far extremely safe.
Get the civilians down, all right?
But very real. And I think, you know, so far it's looked great. Been a lot of fun. Been a long day, but a good day. Hoorah.
The most important character in the story is Staff Sergeant Nance.
And with Eckhart, he plays the staff sergeant.
I play Staff Sergeant Nance, a career Marine. I'm retiring. I've been 20 years in. I'm pretty, you know, used up. And I get thrown back into a situation that I don't really want to be in.
I'm bringing you back to the company, Mike. I need you.
Nance is a 20-year veteran of the Marines, and he's seen it all and, you know, done it all. And, you know, he's recently come back from battle where he lost some guys.
And there are all these rumors flying around about, you know, Nance and what happened on that last tour.
Staff Sergeant Nance, what'd you hear about his last tour?
Just the grimy details that everybody else already knows.
People around him have lost confidence in him.
The guy wants out of the Marine Corps, now we're stuck with him.
And not only that, but he's lost confidence in himself.
I did my 20. I know when to get out.
And then this invasion hits, and so Nance has to shoulder all of this responsibility and bring these young Marines along, and in the process, rediscover for himself that, you know, this is what he was meant to do.
Get me down there! What? I gotta recon that area! No way, it's suicide! Damn it, we're the only ones left!
I'm a salty old Marine. I'm a hard ass, and all the young Marines know it.
He's gung-ho, he's, you know, made of steel, follow orders. That's pretty much what it is, you know.
I'm kind of just like that drill sergeant that the Marines is known for that yells in your face.
Platoon! Attend! Hut! On! March!
He's disciplined. He can take care of himself in any situation. He's a survivalist.
What's going on?
Well, let's not wait around and find out.
He teaches through tough love and loves his men, but on the other hand, doesn't coddle them.
Looks like we're getting into some heavy shit.
It's been my experience, Lieutenant. Heavy shit is highly overrated.
They have to do what I say. And if they're looking sloppy, then I get to take control over their lives and work them out physically.
Aaron is an intense guy, and he just really gets into the role, and he looks good. He's a hero.
So hit the ground fast and fight like hell!
He stays really focused and very professional, and he's just always in it.
Once he's here, he's Nance, and that's who he is. And he's gonna answer you like Nance, and he's gonna be Nance until we go home.
I mean, the dude is like, he's pretty damn committed, concentrating, always moving, always wanting to make the scenes better, always wanting to make them work.
Aaron can speak without speaking, which is incredible. Like, he can look at you a certain way, and you know exactly what he's trying to say.
He's got these great eyes, and there's a soulfulness to him, but he can also be really tough and strict. He's chiseled. He's like today's Marlboro men, and shows a lot of courage to the rest of the guys.
My name is James D. Deaver. I'm a retired Sergeant Major in the United States Marine Corps. I'm the senior military advisor. It's my job to make sure that they walk, talk, and act like Marines.
He has trained them as if they really are going to combat. He has never once treated them like actors. He has never once babied them or coddled them.
When he says fall on me, you gotta move from your positions quickly, because you're gonna be moving forward to engage the enemy.
Jim Deaver teaches the importance of every single action. It's invaluable to the reality of this movie.
Make sure you hold your weapon like everybody else is.
We're definitely learning a method to all this stuff.
In the script, it'll say something like, the Marines cross the street. Okay, well, that's one line, but when you've got 17 people, you have to figure out how they're going to get across the street.
I'll stay with our wounded, wait for the medic. I'll go for civilians.
Lock it! Oswald, Kurtz! Deaver, on me!
They listen very closely to everything he has to say while we're shooting in terms of where somebody might be standing, what somebody might be saying.
In what order? What's the goal? Would they send 2 people up front and do some sort of box recon? All these things I never would have thought of, Jim Deaver helps me do.
If I bring Emily over here, he has to be next to Nancy.
Put him like that.
Emily, I got Santos over there, I was gonna put her over there, and Emily here.
Okay, so he's going from there to behind the chopper, so you're firing at him.
In a way, is directing a lot of the action on the film for me.
All right, guys, let's go to number 1, and let's rehearse that real quick, guys.
Jonathan wanted to get across that dirt under the fingernails, in the field, you know, tough, raw style of filmmaking, and Jim Deaver's really brought a lot of that authenticity to it.
It's just to make sure that they're moving like Marines, plus Marines watching it in the movies, they know that, hey, looks like a Marine doing his job.
My name's Joey Box, and I'm the stunt coordinator for the film Battle Los Angeles. We have the ambush, you know, and that's the first confrontation, real confrontation with the alien. You know, so we'll shoot a couple guys and blow up a few guys into the bushes, and you know, it's a lot of shoot 'em up, a lot of action.
The style of this film is very documentary, and the handheld zooms are very complicated in the CG world. 5 years ago, we could not have done this film, but the advancements in technology for camera tracking have become so good lately that we're able to track a lot of these shots and really integrate our aliens into the footage that's shot. But it's very complicated, especially the very erratic, sort of a cinema verite style that Jonathan has chosen for this film. The biggest challenge is how to mimic the camera move in 3D so the aliens can look like they're actually there. We have a small team, we call it the garage band, putting those shots together in a rough form so the director can kind of know. Instead of it just being a plate of actors screaming, now we have a plate of actors screaming with aliens running down the street.
Santa Monica, you're going to...
Sorry. Nice property, beachfront. You wanted the beachfront. This is what you get.
It's a pretty tight-knit group, so it's an adventure you go on together. And if somebody breaks off and tries to do it on their own, it doesn't quite work.
It's a little difficult, just that feeling of team, you know, so when someone got lost, the Marines come and stop them. You know, none of these Marines have ever dealt with anything like this. We can't see our enemies.
Working with creatures that you don't see is it's interesting because it makes you kind of you have to use your imagination a lot. You gotta make sure that you're on your game because you gotta, you know, you can be looking at like a green screen or you can be looking at, you know, like a taped orange X somewhere, and then you know you gotta make sure you're gonna be scared. It just makes you work harder to get yourself in the right frame of mind, basically.
You have to imagine it is on set with you, and you have to personalize it in whatever way you can. The unfortunate thing about working this way is that you don't know the eventual capabilities of your foe. So, you know, I don't know what Jonathan's gonna do with the aliens. I don't know what the Sony tech guys or special effects guys are gonna come up with. I mean, conventional armies are terrifying enough, but think of the thing that has overwhelming capabilities and that seems to be omnipresent and all this sort of stuff. It's just too much to even think about. You know, and then to act normal under those circumstances is insane.
My character, Elena Santos, was added on pretty much last minute.
Her character in the film did not exist when we initially bought the screenplay. and she wanted to be in the film.
Let's make an action movie.
We created an Air Force character that worked for her.
She plays an Air Force tech sergeant.
Both the producers and Jonathan decided it would be cool to have a character that elaborates a little more on the technical aspects of the aliens and how they infiltrate.
We were tracking enemy transmissions about 12 clicks south of here. They ambushed us, like they knew our freaking address. I'm the only one left.
She basically comes in as an Air Force intelligence officer. She has information that ultimately allows Nance to, you know, put A and B together and sort of figure out what's happening towards the end of the movie.
They're calling it the Command and Control Center.
That's the thing you were tracking?
Yeah,
The thing that's controlling the drones.
yeah. And if we wipe it out, we take out their air power.
In the beginning, our interaction is a little tense, just because she's not one of us.
They call anybody who's not a Marine or a grunt, they call them a pogue. So I get that.
But she proves her worth.
Aim for the leader!
Hell, you take all the room you want.
She's fighting alongside her fellow Marines.
And I feel kind of like I'm playing a video game. And I am the one-person shooter. It's constant chaos, and I like that. It's pretty hardcore. I'm the kind of chick that I'm pretty awesome at maneuvering, and I'm very fast.
You ready to use that weapon, Tech Sergeant?
With all due respect, Staff Sergeant, I didn't get this far off of my good looks.
She's one of the few women that I could actually believe could be on the front lines.
I'm used to the being the only girl thing.
Kick it out!
Run that sucker over, man!
Santos, you okay?
I got that nasty stuff all over my mouth, man. It's not funny.
You let him do you on the first date?
She's so funny.
Michelle can laugh and joke with you, but then the second they yell action, it's like...
I just like kicking ass.
That hurt!
Every time that the cast interacts physically with one of these aliens, it's something that we have made. You know, it's a physical prop. It's there in the room.
We built an entire full-scale alien for an autopsy scene that we've got in the movie.
I love shooting the autopsy with the alien. Because you're in there and you get to see its guts and the elaborate work that the art department did on this massive creature. It's intriguing to look at.
Joel Harlow, the makeup effects person, is unreal. The alien he built out of our designs matches the maquette exactly. The details within that alien body are, I don't know, I think they're great.
They bring this thing out, which is 7 feet tall, and it's got a tentacle coming out of its leg that's like 20 feet long. And then we have a puppet version. Then I can manipulate the arms, and one of the guys in my shop, Lenny McDonald, manipulates the head. And it's a pretty impressive hunk of dead alien.
It's so cool when the cast walks on and sees that alien all split up. It gets them into the movie. They get excited.
I like it. I mean, the gory looks of the creature itself, and I'm disgusted every time I look at it. So I think they're doing their job. And now I kind of understand slightly the anatomy of the damn thing. I think that's cool. Like they're making conscious decisions on how it works.
Jonathan didn't want to replicate or duplicate any other alien that was in another film. So this is totally original. We went through a lot of different concepts to sort of get the alien to a place where the director was comfortable. We looked at a lot of things out of nature. Strange insects, strange sea life. Or weird robotic devices. So we combined all those to come up with the alien design.
You know, from that point, we broke it down and started building the skins and, you know, casting parts. What would be metal? What would be, you know, silicone? What would be skin? What would be bone? And going through different phases of the process as far as painting and materials go. And then when Jonathan came into the shop, he was like, oh yes, there it is. You know, that's my creation. That's my monster, you know.
So there's a lot of good stuff in here. We're on a bus, having to hit the deck, and it's always reminding yourself what you're up against.
The UFO flies past the bus. That's called 3D tracking. So what you do is you shoot that shot in the bus where the camera's tracking forward, And within the shot, there are certain points that are consistently from frame 0 to frame 500, whether it's the front window of the bus or the side window, just little points, little points within the frame that software sort of picks up on. And the software will pick up on those points and analyze the shot, and from that create a three-dimensional almost map of the shot of how the camera moved within space.
We do a thing called LiDAR a lot of times to capture our sets. And LiDAR is a big device created by the Navy that basically scans the area and we get a 3D representation of the set.
You then take a 3D object and you can put it in that space and then superimpose it over the shot, and now you have an object that interacts believably within that space.
We did shots of spaceships dropping. That was really difficult to sort of get the design down. We went through a lot of different concepts, really trying to outdo the original Alien. We wanted it to be very different.
It's a 3-stage explosion. There is shrapnel involved. That's why we're moving everybody safely back behind the bus or behind the tractor trailer under the overpass.
We researched explosions very specifically. When an alien shoots something, we put these phosphorus sparks within the explosion, and sort of, you know, the physical effects guys paid a lot of attention to the different amounts of ingredients per explosion, and it was just fascinating to watch. They never get it wrong. They always have explosions ready. They look great. They look huge. Again, it's so cool when you say action and there's an explosion and you're like, wow, that's so cool. That's in my movie.
We've incorporated an alien walking gun.
The big walking machine gun and taking out a lot of Marines.
We're trying to give a real handheld feel, adds to the reality, because it's very difficult to track handheld footage and put CGI within it.
We have the silver balls that they'll put up in place of aliens.
They bring out the silver and, you know, gray balls as a lighting reference. They photograph it in the lighting scenario so that they're, you know, the visual effects houses can reference that.
He wants to put smoke in all the shots. It's a very smoky, very almost like Baghdad war environment. So because smoke causes problems with visual effects, I'll remind John and say, look, you know, don't put smoke in front of the lens here, put it in the background, because we have to put aliens in here. And I can always add smoke in the foreground, but I can't always, you know, put an alien through smoke that already is there in the shot.
You have a guy in a suit and he has senses that correspond to parts of the creature's body, whether it's the hand, the elbow. So when the person moves, the creature moves in exactly the same way. And you take that information, which is called motion capture information, and you augment it a little bit so that it moves a little different than a human.
Promise me you won't let me be taken alive by some godless predator from another world, Staff Sergeant?
I absolutely believe in aliens and all of that stuff.
I think that we would have to be incredibly narcissistic and stupid to believe that we're the only ones in this vast universe.
As many different and vast forms of life that there is just on this planet alone, you really think that God stopped here?
I mean, I only know what I know, and that's like, you know, people here on Earth.
I wouldn't say I believe. I wouldn't say I don't believe. I certainly think it's in the realm of possibility.
I would say that I want to believe in unknown forces.
Oh, there's gotta be. I mean, there's gotta be something out there.
Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and I think Pluto is still a planet, I'm not sure. That's just our solar system.
Yeah, I guess I don't disbelieve in it.
It would be awesome to come in contact with them.
There's stuff at the bottom of the ocean we haven't even seen yet.
I think they just found water on the moon, which is interesting because that means that, you know, you could potentially, I'd love to have a condo there. Like, that would be pretty good. My neighbors would be some aliens, whatever. I don't know.
I don't know what's out there, but I definitely believe there's something out there. It's not just us. No way. We're not that cool.
Who the hell knows?
I hope that they would be friendly.
Well, when this first happened, he said, you know, why don't we go try to talk to them? Huh? Maybe they want to be friends. I said, you know, if they're chasing and shooting us, they're probably not good friends. You know?
Don't mess with aliens, man. Don't mess with Marines.
Give me some running low on ammo stuff, guys.
I'm running low on ammo!
So here we are at the dam set. It's completely been destroyed by the aliens. This is our last chance to save Los Angeles.
Crazy bastard, you should have left me there.
What happens is they're able to actually go back into the battle zone and disable this command and control center, which controls the aliens' air force. And the air force is the aliens' advantage over us. So our guys actually are instrumental in winning, you know, the Battle of Los Angeles. There's a real documentary style, and when you put special effects within that, there's a sort of fresh reality to it. Films that have shots set up specifically for special effects don't feel as exciting as shots where the special effects just happen to be there as if they were part of that world on the day and we just happen to catch them. Physical effects, Stan Parks and Burt Dalton, I think are exceptional.
We have a large gas explosion this time. There's 3 poppers.
See that popper over there? He's going to be shooting at it. It explodes. 3, 2, 1. Hands up!
Really, as the director, you're very lucky. You're the least talented person in the room, and then when you see it all come together, you get to say that you directed that. And all you did was give people a couple of ideas, they ran with it and put it together.
Take out that drone!
Fire!
CNC explodes. 3, 2, 1.
The 5-gallon explosion with kind of an omni-gerbs flying up 80 to 100 feet in the sky. All I ask is watch for fallout. From gerbs, it's a sparking mass that flies up. It's ignited by a lifter and by the gas, and it's going to go 80 to 100 feet. It's like the ship crashed, blew up,
skidded
all the way over the set.
Out of Los Angeles, we will succeed.